My name is Dan.
And I'm Fran.
And we're here as part of Singapore Science Festival, coming to you from here, the Royal Institution in the UK.
And the Royal Institution has been around for more than 220 years. And loads of amazing things have happened here. Elements have been found, Nobel Prizes have been won. But one thing that we absolutely love to do is to talk about science. People come and watch talks right here in our theatre in Mayfair, London. And you can also watch those talks on our YouTube channel. And you guys may have even seen us on television. In the UK, we do a television show called The Christmas Lectures. And in Singapore, we do the Star Lecture. But the one thing that we're so famous for is doing live science demonstrations. And in this show, Explosive Food, that is exactly what we'll be doing.
Yes, we're going to be talking about why we like food, what food does to us, and what we do to it. Now, we're not just going to do demonstrations, we're going to ask you some questions. So you should have some booklets with you. Don't worry about them just yet. We'll let you know when you need them. But on with the first demonstration, all about the energy that's in our food. Here, I'm heating up a chemical called potassium chlorate. Now, this is an oxidizer. That means it's really good at giving things oxygen. And oxygen is one of the things you need if you want fire. In fact, you need three things if you want fire, not just the oxygen, but also some heat, which is why I'm heating it up, and something to burn, a fuel. And the fuel that we're going to use is, of course, food. In fact, I'm going to use a jelly sweet, like this one. Now, there's loads of sugar in this jelly sweet, and there's lots of energy in that sugar. So if we burn this, we should see a pretty good reaction. I'm going to drop this in. Let's give it a countdown and see what happens. We're going to go from 3, 2, 1. Whoa!
Oh, that looks awesome.
It's a great colour, isn't it?
Gosh, that is going for it.
Do you know what? I was going to eat those jelly babies as well. We can see lots of burning happening there. We've got bright lights flashing around in there as the sugar reacts with the oxygen and the heat to give us some fire. And of course, that flask will be getting really hot. What we saw there was the energy being released from our food as light, as heat, some sound, and of course it's also made all of this smoke. We'll talk more about the energy that's in food later on.
Before that, we'd love to talk to you about the first thing you get from food. And so we're going to investigate what your favourite foods are. Now, it's at this point that you need the booklet. And next to question 1, we want you to write what your favourite food is. And this can be absolutely anything. We're going to give you 10 seconds to do this. Are you ready? Go. Time is up. Now, you might have chosen something like this, or this, or even this. But no matter what your favorite food is, I bet I'm right if I say that you like the taste of it, right? Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense to have a favorite food that you don't like the taste of. So what we're going to do now is look at what taste actually is.
So taste is one of our senses. And to sense the taste of food, we use a tongue. And this is a tongue.
This is a tongue.
And here's my tongue again, but in a massive close-up. Now, if you look really closely, it's covered in loads of little bumps. And those bumps are our taste buds. Now, we all have taste buds, and those are the part that detect the taste of your food. But it might surprise you to learn that they can only detect 5 different tastes. They can tell if a food is sweet, so if there's sugar in it. If it's bitter, so a nasty kind of flavour we don't really like. If it's salty, so salt. If it's savoury, it's kind of a hard one to describe, but lots of meat has a savoury flavour. And the last one is sour. Quite a nasty, sharp taste, but also can be quite fun, so you get those sour sweets. Now, what you'll see on our list is that we don't have pizza and chili crab and whatever your favourite food is that you wrote down earlier. And that's because to get the full flavour of food, we need to use another sense as well.
And that sense is smell. Believe it or not, to get the full flavour of food, we do use our sense of smell. And we're going to try and prove that to you right now, doing something called the Woosh Test. So Dan, underneath your table, you should have a little pot of something.
I do, yeah, there we go.
So here we have got a mystery brown powder. And what we're going to try and do is eat that powder without using our sense of smell, which means we need to pinch our nose.
Right, so we're going to do
No, Dan.
Sorry?
You have to do that just yet.
Oh, sorry, I got ahead of myself. We're going to do 2 countdowns. The first one will be 3, 2, 1, taste. And on taste, we can put the powder on our tongues. And the second countdown is 3, 2, 1, smell. When we say smell, we can let go of our noses. Hopefully, we get a whoosh of flavour.
Yeah,
Okay, are we ready?
I think so.
Okay, pinch that nose.
All right.
Okay, get your powder. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, taste. Oh,
That,
okay, I'll get like a dry. There's a bit of heat, maybe.
really dry.
I'm not getting.
No flavour.
Should we see what happens if we let go?
Uh-huh.
Okay, 3, 2, 1,
Smell.
Whoa!
Oh, it's hot.
Ooh.
I put so much in my mouth. It's too. Oh, ha! I definitely got more flavour that time.
Oh,
It's cinnamon, isn't it?
it's totally cinnamon.
It's hot as well.
Wow. You okay? Gosh, you can really,
Oh,
you
that
can
was-
really get the flavour.
I was slightly. I would say that was more than a whoosh there. Okay, so, whew.
You good?
So, let's give it a go.
Keep
So,
going.
we had the cinnamon on our tongues, and there was nothing there for the taste buds to detect. So, we just got that dry sort of feeling.
Yeah.
Is that what you got? Then, when we opened our noses, air could move from our mouths into our noses, and we could smell it as well. And most of the full flavour of that cinnamon was in its smell.
Now, do be careful, because obviously the flavour does come through quite strong,
Yes,
doesn't
it
it?
does, yes.
But this is something that you guys can try at home. It works well with cinnamon, it works well with nutmeg, and you can even try it with banana. And the interesting thing with banana is with your nose pinched, you can taste the sweetness of the banana, but you don't get the full banana-y flavour until you release your nose and you can smell it as well.
Okay, that's quite enough about taste, I think, for now. I think we should have done that with a banana. So we like food because of the taste, but we need food to keep us alive because food gives us nutrition and energy. And it's energy I want to talk about now. Actually, I don't think we should just talk about it, Fran. I think we should use some energy. What do you think?
I totally agree.
Good, I'm glad you agree. I've got a little something for you in your desk there. So you just have a good rummage. It's probably right at the back there.
I don't trust you, Dan.
No, she's quite right not to, because Fran is going to be doing some exercise for us. So you got some sweatbands on there. Fran, I thought of the two of us, obviously you need a bit more exercise. So if you pop those on, we will get Fran to do 10 star jumps for us, and then we'll think about how much energy she's used doing that exercise. Okay, you all ready, Fran?
Just about.
Yeah, limbered up. Okay, good. Yeah. Right. We're going to count along. We're going to make sure you do exactly 10. You can start when you're ready. Okay, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop. Excellent. Well done, Fran. You just chill out over there for a second. You can relax, get your breath back. Because we're going to work out how much food Fran will have to have eaten to have the energy to have done those 10 jumps. If you go to your booklets and look for question 2, I want you to circle the food you think is the right one. So the options are, to do the 10 star jumps, did Fran need to eat 1 whole chocolate bar? Or was it 1 slice of buttered toast? Or a bag of potato chips? Or 1 banana? I'm going to give you 10 seconds, starting from now. Stop. Time is up. Okay, obviously I can't see your answers, but I can tell you that you are all definitely wrong. See, it's actually a bit of a trick question. All of those foods had way too much energy for just 10 star jumps. We need to give Fran exactly the right amount of food with exactly the right amount of energy for those 10 star jumps. So, Fran, here we go. Would you like to eat a whole chocolate bar?
Yes, thank you. I would.
Yeah, well, you can't have that because this is way too much energy. We know that. So we need a slightly smaller amount of chocolate.
Still chocolate though, right?
Still chocolate, which I have under here. Under here we have a whole cube of chocolate. Would you like that one,
yes,
Fran?
I would.
Yeah,
Thank
good.
you,
There you go.
yeah.
No, you can't have that one either because there's still too much energy. Under this one, though, Fran, I have the right amount of chocolate for the right amount of energy for the 10 star jumps you did. Do you want the chocolates under here?
I do, yeah.
Excellent. Well, bon appetit. There is your chocolate. You enjoy it. Enjoy it. That's good. Savor that, Fran.
Thanks, Dan.
That tiny piece of chocolate has the right amount of energy in it for the 10 star jumps that you were doing before. Now, chocolate and all food has an incredible amount of energy in it, and that's good for us. You see, we do think of jumping, running around, doing exercise as using loads of energy. But the truth is, it's actually a very small amount of energy compared to what we need just to stay alive. See, we're very complicated, right? Our brains are thinking, our hearts are beating all the time, our lungs are breathing all the time, we're growing. All of this stuff takes a huge amount of energy. So it's a good job that there is so much energy in our food.
But as scientists, we like to measure things. And to measure the energy in food, we use a unit called the calorie. Now, you might have heard of the word calorie, but what does it actually mean? Now, it's at this point that you need your booklets again. And next to question 3, it says, what is a calorie? So I'm going to give you 10 seconds to write what you think the scientific definition of a calorie is. Are you ready? Go. Time is up. So 1 calorie is the energy needed to warm up 1 kilogram of water, which is 1 liter of water, by 1 degree Celsius. But what does that actually mean? Well, let's say you just invented a new sandwich and you wanted to work out how many calories there were in it. Well, we know that you can use energy to warm up water, and then you can take the measurements. So how many kilograms of water is there? How many degrees Celsius did it increase by? And from that, you can work out the number of calories. But how do you use a sandwich, or any food for that matter, to warm up water? The answer is actually pretty simple. You set it on fire.
So let's set some food on fire. Sound good?
Certainly does.
Excellent. Okay, so I've got a kind of food with me that's got loads of energy in it, and loads of energy should mean loads of fire. This kind of food is so good, you find it all around the world. Nearly every human culture has some version of bread. So lots of energy, lots of fire. Let's see if this works. We're going to need a little bit of safety equipment on, of course, if there's going to be some fire. So glove on. Are we ready for this, Fran?
I am.
Okay. Here's the bread. Let's set it on fire. Give me a countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Dan, that doesn't look
not really
great.
worked,
It doesn't look, no.
Oh.
But I think I know what's going on here. Bread has 2 main ingredients. So you've got the flour, where most of the energy is, and then water. And water normally puts fires out. So in order to set bread on fire, you've got to dehydrate it, take all of the water out. And you end up with this crumbly, dry powder, and that's what you set on fire. So to set bread on fire, I'm going to bypass the whole bread making and then dehydrating process and use some flour. Because flour is basically dehydrated bread. So what I'm going to do is set this flour on fire. I need all my safety equipment. Right. Oh. Are you ready for this, Dan?
Go for it. I'm excited.
Okay.
I want to see some fire.
Give me a countdown. From 3.
2, 1. Oh, that was no better than mine, Fran.
That wasn't great either, was it?
No, but I actually know what's gone wrong here. You see, to get fire, we mentioned earlier that you need 3 things, right? We need fuel, something to burn, that's the flour. We need heat, so you had a match, I've got a blowtorch. But the third thing we need is oxygen. There's lots of oxygen in the air around us. So if I can mix the flour with the air, I'll have fuel and oxygen, and then a little bit of heat should give us some fire. So to do that, down here, I have a very special piece of equipment. It is a funnel on a tube. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some flour, we're going to put it into the funnel, I'll blow into the tube, make a big cloud of flour and air, fuel and oxygen, and when we add the heat, hopefully we'll get loads of fire. Let's give this a go. So I'm going to put some flour into the funnel. I will light the blowtorch. Then to blow in the tube, I'm going to have my mouth full. So if you could do a countdown for me in a moment, Fran. Mm-hmm. Let's give it a go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Whoa! is awesome. And yeah, it was a big fireball, but you know what? It's not actually the big fireball that we should be interested in. It's the fact that we saw a release of energy when the fuel combined with the oxygen. And this is sort of like what's going on inside our body. We don't have little fires all going off everywhere, but what we do have are chemical reactions happening in our cells. And in those chemical reactions, the fuel, so the food we eat, is combining with oxygen to release energy. But to get our food so it can be used in these chemical reactions, it needs to go through a process called digestion.
Yes, indeed. And if we're going to talk about digestion, ideally, we'd need to be able to look at all the organs inside of your body. Now, what we could do is we could use something like one of these. This is a pill cam. And it's got tiny cameras in either side. You swallow it like a pill, and it can take photos and videos as it moves through your digestive system. Maybe you'd swallow one. Fran, would you swallow one?
Nope.
No, me neither, because I'd want this back, and I don't want to go where that's going to end up. But I have got some footage for you from one of these. This is really from inside a human being. If you look inside of them, we can see some juices floating around. That big, dark, empty cave, that's their empty stomach. There's no food in there at the moment, so it's quite a nice, clean stomach, actually. Yours will be much messier, probably got some breakfast or some lunch in there still. But I have an alternative, a slightly nicer alternative, a bit more fashionable. I've actually got Fran to wear my X-ray t-shirt. We can see on there roughly where Fran's digestive organs are. And what we're going to do is we're going to follow some food through that digestive system to find out what Fran's body, your body, my body, everybody's body does to food as we digest it. Fran, if you have a look under the table there, I've got a little chocolate cake for you. You'll like that. Okay, so we're going to follow that chocolate cake through Fran. So the first thing we need to do is see what the very first step in eating that food is. Fran, could you take a bite of the chocolate cake, please? We can see there that Fran is using her front teeth. These are called your incisors, and they're sharp for chopping, cutting, and biting lumps out of your food. So to try and recreate this, I've got something sharp. I've got some scissors. So I'm going to chop some food up. And I'm going to drop it into this empty bowl. This is going to be our mouth. Now, I gave Fran some chocolate cake, so let's chop up some chocolate cakes into our mouth. There we go. Choppity chop, chop, chop. Lots of that going in there. I think Fran could probably manage 3 of these, so we'll give her 3. There we go. Okay, so we got some chocolate cake in there. Now, earlier on, I said that bread was a really good source of energy. So we're going to put some bread in as well. I'm going to chop these slices of bread up into nice bite-sized pieces into our mouth. But you can't spend your whole life, unfortunately, eating just bread and cake. You've got to have some fruit and vegetables. Fran, do you like bananas?
I don't mind them.
Good, because I've got you some bananas. I've got a couple of bananas for Fran here. So let's get these peeled open. And again, using our sharp incisors, chop that banana into our mouth. I've got 2 as well. I think Fran can probably do with a bit more fruit in her diet. So let's chop in a second banana. And how about some vegetables? I've got some nice pulses. Fran, do you like baked beans?
Kind of.
No, she doesn't seem to be a massive fan. Maybe, Fran, maybe you'll like them if you try them cold, straight out of the tin. That's how we're going to do it. So, in go some baked beans. Oh, lovely. Look at that. Oh, all that lovely bean juice. Oh, a bit more. There we go. Lovely. So, you don't just eat with your mouth, though, remember. We also drink, don't we? We drink stuff out with our mouths. So, Fran, do you like a coffee?
Yes, definitely.
Fran does like her coffee. So, I've made Fran a lovely warm coffee. So, let's give her that. There we go. Lovely. So all we've done so far, remember, is bite into our food and take a sip of our drink. So at the moment, our food is sitting on our mouth looking something like this. So we need to do the next stage. Fran, if you could take another bite of that chocolate cake there, and then we're going to watch what she does next. She's chewing it. When you chew your food, you are using your back teeth. These are big, blocky teeth that can crush and mash your food. We call them molars. So because they're mashing the food, I'm going to be using a potato masher. I'm going to mash up this food as if I am chewing it up in our mouth. Now, we don't just use our teeth to chew up our food. There's something else helping us, some wet stuff. You might know that the wet stuff in your mouth is your saliva. So before we were getting ready to film, we went round everybody and we filled up a bottle with saliva. And I'm going to add some of this saliva to our food and maybe add a bit to Fran as well. And it does something really important as we chew the food up. But I think Fran will explain to us what that is.
Yeah, so What saliva contains is it contains something called enzymes, and enzymes are a form of catalyst. Now, catalysts in their broadest definition are one thing that make another thing happen faster. Let me show you. Here I have some Diet Cola, and if I open the lid of this Diet Cola, then some of the gas that's inside the cola escapes, and that's why you hear it fizz. Now, if I was to leave this over time, then all of the gas would escape and it would become flat. But that would take hours to happen. But what I can do is add a catalyst. Now, here we have a catalyst, which is just some mints. And if I add all of these mints to the cola, then it'll make all of the gas that's in the cola be released in one go. It'll make it happen faster. Should we try it?
Absolutely, although it looks like it might make a bit of a mess, so let me pop this down for you.
Okay, let's give it a go. I'm quite excited.
Should be good.
Okay. So, 3,
2,
1.
Whoa! Wow! Oh, that was good. That was good.
That was a lot of gas.
So, just like the mints sped up the fizzing of that Diet Cola, the saliva and the enzymes in there are helping to speed up the breakdown of this food. So it's pretty much ready to move on. If we look back over at Fran, if she's had a mouthful of food, of course, she's got to swallow it. It goes down that tube to that organ that I've coloured in yellow. That, of course, is the stomach. And your stomach is basically a bag for holding on to that chewed up food. So I've got a bag here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it in here to hold on to it, and then we're going to swallow the food from our mouth into our empty stomach. Very hungry at the moment. So there's our empty stomach. Here's our mouthful of food. Let's swallow it down into there. Are we ready? Here we go. Yum, 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 yum. Gulp, 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 gulp. Swallow, swallow, swallow. Yes, look. Oh, there's some delicious looking stuff in there. That looks very nice. A little bit caught in between the teeth there. Let's get that last bit out. There we go. Yes. Delicious. So there is our stomach full of food. Look at that. Now, all that food in there has got more enzymes getting mixed in from the stomach. It's getting broken down even further. And there are muscles around your stomach which squeeze and mash the food even more. If you've ever vomited, it's because all those muscles squeezed at once and the food shot up and out of your mouth. But that's not going to happen to us now. We're going to carry on our journey. Looking at Fran and the X-ray t-shirt, we can see that the next place is a red wiggly organ called the small intestine. Now, the job of the small intestine is to get all the nutrition, all the good, healthy stuff out of this food and into our body. It acts like a filter. So for my filter, I'm going to use a stocking. I'm going to put the stomach into the end of our small intestine. So let's get that right in there. And what we have now is our stomach full of food at the top and our small intestine below. I'm going to put the food into the small intestine, like this. Oh, there it goes. Bit more. Oh, there we go. Let's make sure I get all of that out of there. Oh, there it goes. And out comes the relatively empty stomach. There we go. So we don't need this anymore. There we go. Now, all of the food is oozing the good, nutritious stuff through the walls of the small intestine, and it's dribbling down into, this is our body now. This is not our mouth anymore. This is the rest of our body. All that good stuff is coming out of there and going into it, but it needs a bit of help. So the small intestine squeezes the food, and that helps all that good, healthy, nutritious stuff to ooze into the rest of our body. Now, this takes a little while to do, so while I do this, I have a question for you. If you go to your booklets and go to question 4, I want to know how long you think the small intestine is. Do you think it's A, 1 meter, about the height of the table I'm working at? Do you think it's B, 2 meters, which is about my height? Do you think it's C, 4 meters, so that's twice as tall as me? Or do you think it's D, 7 meters, which is actually about the size of the space I'm in right now? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to circle your answer. Your time starts now. Time is up. So we're not just going to tell you the answer, we're going to show you the answer. Against her doctor's orders, Fran has tied her small intestine to the post here in the studio, and I'm going to get her to walk away from it. So Fran, could you start by walking about 1 meter away? Okay, there's definitely more than 1 meter in there, so keep going for us, Fran. Let's see if it's still, well, she's gone past 2 meters. Keep going for us, Fran. Looks like she's gone past 4 meters. It looks like the answer must be 7 meters long. Look how far we've managed to get Fran. Believe it or not, and that's all wrapped up inside of your body. So it's a bit odd that it's called the small intestine, isn't it? It's actually called the small intestine because it's such a narrow tube, but clearly it is incredibly long. Fran, you go tuck all that back in because we're ready to move on to the next part of the digestive system. We were in the small intestine, so now we're going to the large intestine. On our t-shirt, that's the green part, and it's called the large intestine because it's a very wide tube, and its job is to get the water out of the food. So basically, it dries the food out. So to dry this out, I'm going to get this out of the way, and I'm going to use, of course, a towel. So there's my towel, and I'm going to put the food from our small intestine into the towel, which is our large intestine. Let's get it wrapped up in there and pull out the empty small intestine. Ooh. There we go. We don't need that anymore. So I'm going to start taking the water out of this. It's really important that we get the water out of our food, not just because we need it in our bodies, because if you don't, you're going to get a problem. Now, it's a problem that we are lucky enough to find quite funny, maybe a little bit embarrassing if it happens to you. That is the problem of diarrhea. Now, if you've ever had it, you'll know it's very watery, and that's because you haven't taken the water out of your food at this point. So it's not a big problem for us. If that happens to you, you'll get a bit thirsty or dehydrated, and you can just go get a drink of water. You'll get better quite soon. But what if you live in a part of the world where they don't have access to clean drinking water? Then it could be a really serious problem. You see, you drink some dirty water, it makes you ill, maybe you get diarrhea, and that diarrhea means you're not getting the water from your food, so you get dehydrated and thirsty. So what do? You go drink more of that dirty water, and that makes you sicker, so your diarrhea gets worse, and you get thirsty, you drink more dirty water, you get sicker, diarrhea gets worse, it goes round and round and round, getting worse and worse and worse, until eventually it can kill you. So we really are very lucky to live in a part of the world where we do have access to clean drinking water. Luckily, that's not happening to us now. We haven't got any diarrhea here. So I've got all the water out of that food, which means it's time to go to the next and last part of the body that our food is going to be in, the rectum. So Fran, if you could put the t-shirt away now, please. Thank you. You see, the rectum is like another bag for holding on to what is left of the food. I have a bag here, and I'm going to use the bag to scrape out what's left of the food from our towel, our large intestine. So let's see how much of this I can scrape up. There we go. Excellent. There we go. Done with that now. Our rectum here is now full of food. And if you've ever had a rectum full of food, which you will have, you'll know the feeling. It's the feeling that you need to do a poo. And isn't it typical that you get that feeling in the middle of a lesson? So you're sitting there doing your work and you think to yourself, oh, I think I need a poo. What do? Put your hand up. You say, Miss. She says, yes. Can I go to the toilet? She says, no. Right? You've got to wait for your break time, haven't you? You're like, okay. You carry on doing your work. You're working away. 5 minutes goes by and you think to yourself, no, I really do quite need a poo. Miss? Yes. Please, can I go to the toilet? What does she say? No, you've got to wait for your break times. You're like, okay. You carry on doing your work. 10 minutes goes by. Miss? She looks at you. She sees the panic on your face and she's like, yeah, okay, go. Thanks, miss. And you go off to the toilet. Nice and carefully, you get to the toilets, you go into the first cubicle, you open the door and you look and you realize there's no toilet paper in that cubicle, so we won't be using that one. So we go to the next cubicle, we open the door, good, there's toilet paper, but the lock's broken, we don't want to use that one. We go to the third cubicle, good, there's toilet paper, the lock's working, this is the one for us. We got ourselves comfortable and then nothing. See, it's a bit difficult to go for a poo if you're stressed out, if you're not relaxed, right? The teacher wouldn't let you go, no toilet paper, no lock on the door. And that's the secret, right? If you ever have problems going for a poo, the secret is to relax. Relax. Don't do what I'm about to do, which is take a pair of scissors and cut a new hole in your rectum. There we go. So I'm all ready. I need a toilet, so this tile will be my toilet. And let's see if we can get a poo out of here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, there it comes. Oh, it's a heavy one. Out it comes. Oh, it's curling around a little. There we go. Out you come. Oh, a little twist to finish. Oh, look at what we have made. There it is. Mmm. So there it is, the final product of all the food that we have eaten. And we all do the same thing, right? When we eat our food, we bite it with our front teeth, our incisors, into small lumps. We chew and mash it up with our back teeth, our molars. We add saliva, which enzymes break down the food even faster. We swallow it to our stomach, goes to our small intestine to get the nutrition out, goes to our large intestine to get the water out, then it waits in the rectum, and then we poo it out. And every single one of us does it.
Okay, so we've now looked at how we taste food, the energy in food, and in rather disgusting detail, what happens when we eat food. Now what we want to do is use all of that knowledge to empower you to make good decisions about the food you choose to eat. And to do that, we're going to get into your brain. But not only your brain, also the brain of your ancient ancestors who lived thousands of years ago. Because thousands of years ago, food was about survival. It was difficult to get enough food so you could get the energy you needed just to stay alive. So in the brains of our ancient ancestors, they have this urge to find food. And that urge still exists in our brains today. But now, food is really easy to find. You can find it absolutely everywhere. And yeah, our bodies do need a lot of energy just to keep going. But you can find all the energy you need for an entire day in just one breakfast meal from a fast food outlet.
Yes, that fast food breakfast might give us all the energy we need, but it might not give us the nutrition we need. You see, we are complicated beings. Our bodies need not just the energy from things like fats and carbohydrates, but the nutrition of things like protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. So what we have to do as thinking humans is not just think about the energy, but the nutrition we need as well. Then we have to resist the urge to not eat too much of one thing and not enough of the other. Now, due to genetics, that might be easier for some people than others, but something we can all do is try and stick to these 3 basic rules.
Rule 1, eat more fruit and vegetables. Fruit and veg, like your tomatoes, your apples, your soybeans, they're a great source of protein and vitamins and minerals. And they don't contain many calories, which means you could eat lots of them and so get more of those needed nutrients.
Rule 2, eat less refined sugar. Sugar contains loads of energy, and when we get it from natural sources like those fruits and vegetables, it also comes packaged with loads of extra nutrition. But sometimes we run it through these industrial processes, which strip away all that extra nutrition and leave us with just this, refined sugar. Now, this releases its energy in a way that might not be so useful for our bodies. Let me try and show you what I mean. I have 2 candles in front of me. This is a normal candle made of wax, and it represents natural sources of sugar, things like bananas, oats, brown rice. And if I light this, we should see that it releases energy, but hopefully it releases it nice and slowly. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. But this candle, my second candle, is made in a slightly different way. And this represents refined sugar. Remember the fizzy drinks and the chocolate? And I think it's going to release its energy in a slightly different way, perhaps a little bit faster. Let's see. In 3, 2, 1. Whoa! That was quick. Now, although sugars aren't literally burning like that in our bodies, they are releasing energy. So you saw all the energy there released very quickly, but it's already all gone. So we'd be hungry again. But with our natural sources, it's still burning, slowly releasing energy, and that's going to last for a really long time. That was so fast. I'll give you another look at it in slow motion.
Rule 3, drink more water. Believe it or not, we actually need water to be able to get the energy out of food. Water is used in those chemical reactions that are going on inside your body. So you need to ensure that you drink enough water, and it's recommended that you drink at least 8 glasses of water a day to keep those processes going. Now, I understand that this might sound a little bit bizarre, that you need water to be able to get a chemical reaction going that releases energy, because fire is a chemical reaction that releases energy. And water is usually thought of as putting out fires, so stopping that energy release. But there are loads of different chemical reactions, and that is not always the case.
Wow. Okay, so there's our 3 rules, and they're going to help empower you to make good food choices. But we did call this show Explosive Food. And we've had some fun, we've had some fireballs and some sparks, but we thought we could end with a really explosive finale. We're going to set something up, but while we're getting it ready, we've got one last question for you. Go to your booklets, look for question 5. You'll see a summary of the show so far, but we've left some blank spaces. We want you to fill those spaces out, as many as you can. I hope you're ready, because we're going to give you 30 seconds, and that is going to start now.
Time's up. Pen and pencils down. Let's see how many you got right. So over this show, we have seen that. To get the full flavor of food, you use your tongue and your sense of smell. There is lots of energy in food, which we measure in calories. Our bodies release this energy through a series of chemical reactions. But first, the food goes through a process called digestion. Throughout this process, the food is broken down into tiny pieces with the help of enzymes that help this process go faster.
So we've got our finale set up. Do you remember those 3 rules we told you earlier? Well, maybe not. It can be hard to remember things. So we're going to help you remember them with a little bit of an RI twist. We've written the key parts of these rules on these balloons. But these are no ordinary balloons. We have filled them with explosive hydrogen gas. So, rule 1, eat more fruit and veg.
Rule 2, eat less refined sugar.
And rule 3, drink more water.
Hopefully now you'll be able to remember those rules a little bit better.
So all the stuff we've shown you, everything you can remember, that means you are now
Empowered by science.
We've loved being a part of Singapore Science Festival. Thank you so much. My name is Dan.
I'm Fran.
Bye.
Goodbye.